Millionaire CEO divorced her unaware she was pregnant. Then she called with a shocking request. My son is dying. You're the only one who can save him. Ethan Cross froze, his phone pressed against his ear, the voice on the other end shattering 19 years of carefully constructed silence. Stephanie. His Stephanie. The woman he'd abandoned when she needed him most. Please, Ethan. I know I have no right to ask. But Noah needs blood. Oh, negative. The hospital can't find a match. He was in a car accident, and if we don't get a transfusion in the next few hours, he'll die. You're the only person I know with that blood type. I'm begging you. My son, she'd said. Ethan's hands trembled. How old is he? 19. The number hung in the air between them, heavy with implications neither could voice. 19 years. The same amount of time since their divorce. The same amount of time since he'd walked away from her tearful phone call, too consumed by ambition to listen, too afraid of responsibility to care. Stephanie, is he mine? Her silence was answer enough. Then, barely a whisper. There's something else you need to know. But first, please. St. Hilaire Medical Center. He's dying, Ethan. Our son is dying. Ethan was already moving, grabbing his jacket, his keys, his carefully ordered world crumbling with each step toward the elevator. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to Mr. Stevens Stories, where we bring you powerful tales of love, loss, redemption, and second chances. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we share stories like this every single week, stories that will make you feel, think, and maybe even change the way you see the world. And if this opening already has you hooked, do me a favor and tap that like button. It truly helps this channel grow and reach more people who need these messages. Now, let's dive into Ethan's story, because what happens next will absolutely blow your mind. The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Ethan Cross's penthouse just 20 minutes earlier, each drop a tiny percussion against glass that cost more than most people's cars. He stood motionless, scotch untouched in his hand, staring at the glittering sprawl of Silverhaven City 48 floors below. The charity gala had ended hours ago. Another evening of calculated smiles, strategic handshakes, and hollow congratulations on Cross Dominion Group's latest acquisition. Another night of playing the role he'd perfected over nearly 2 decades. The applause still echoed in his ears. Ethan Cross, visionary CEO. Ethan Cross, self-made billionaire. Ethan Cross, the man who turned a failing tech startup into a multi-billion-dollar empire. What they didn't say was this. Ethan Cross, the man who destroyed the only thing that ever truly mattered. He moved toward his desk, fingers trembling as he pulled open the bottom drawer. Hidden beneath quarterly reports and legal documents lay a single photograph, its edges worn from years of secret handling. A woman with honey-colored hair and eyes that sparkled with unguarded joy smiled up at him, her hand resting on his chest, her laughter frozen in time. Stephanie Moore. His Stephanie. Ethan traced the outline of her face with his thumb, the familiar ache settling deep in his chest. 20 years old in this photo, fresh out of college, standing in the cramped apartment they'd shared when his company was nothing but a dream and a rented office space. Before the money. Before the pressure. Before his mother's poisonous whispers convinced him that love wasn't enough to build an empire on. You need someone who understands the world you're entering. His mother's voice echoed in his memory, dripping with aristocratic disdain. Stephanie Moore is a sweet girl, but she's not equipped for this life. She'll hold you back, darling. And when the business demands sacrifices, will she understand? Will she forgive you for choosing success over domesticity? Ethan had believed her. God help him, he believed every calculated word. The memory surfaced unbidden, sharp as broken glass. Stephanie's voice on the phone, fragile and desperate. Ethan, I need to talk to you. It's important. Please, can you come home? But he'd been in the middle of closing the Meridian deal, the acquisition that would triple his company's value overnight. Not now, Steph. I'm in negotiations. Whatever it is, we'll discuss it when I get back. But Ethan, this can't wait. I really need to tell you something. I said not now. Silence. Then, so quietly he almost missed it. I'm pregnant. The words should have stopped him cold. Should have sent him racing to her side. Instead, panic had flooded through him like ice water. A baby. Responsibility. Distraction. Everything his mother had warned him about. The timing is terrible. He'd said it without thinking, already calculating, already retreating. We talked about this, Stephanie. After the company stabilizes. After we're financially secure. This changes everything. I know it's unexpected, but we can make this work. We love each other, don't we? Love. The word felt like an accusation. He'd loved her more than breathing, but love didn't negotiate contracts or impress investors. Love didn't build dynasties. I need time to think. The words tasted like ash. Just give me some space to figure this out. He'd wired money to her account the next day. Enough to take care of things, whatever she decided. Enough to assuage his guilt. Then he'd thrown himself into work, 16-hour days bleeding into 18, then 20. When the divorce papers arrived 3 weeks later, he'd signed them without contest, telling himself it was for the best. Clean break. No complications. She'd never called again. Never asked for anything. Simply vanished from his life as completely as if their marriage had been a dream. For 19 years, Ethan had convinced himself he'd made the right choice. He'd built an empire, just as he'd promised. Cross-Dominion Group dominated 3 continents, employed thousands, revolutionized entire industries. He'd dated appropriate women, elegant, ambitious, perfectly suited for his lifestyle. None lasted more than a few months. None made him feel the way Stephanie had with just a glance across a crowded room. The scotch sat forgotten as Ethan sank into his leather chair, the photograph still clutched in his hand. Somewhere out there, Stephanie was living a life he knew nothing about. Had she remarried? Found someone who deserved her gentle heart and infectious laugh? The thought carved hollowness through his chest. His phone buzzed on the desk. Probably his assistant with tomorrow's schedule. Ethan glanced at the screen, ready to ignore it. Unknown number. 12:17 a.m. Something made him answer. Perhaps the lateness of the hour. Perhaps the persistent rain. Perhaps the ghost of Stephanie's smile in the photograph. Hello. And then her voice, older but unmistakable, shaking with barely controlled emotion, shattered everything he thought he knew about his life. Now, Ethan's Mercedes tore through the rain-soaked streets of Silverhaven City, every red light an eternity, every mile a lifetime. His driver, Michael, navigated with practiced precision, but even he seemed to sense the urgency radiating from the back seat. Mr. Cross, are you all right? Michael's eyes met his in the rearview mirror. Just drive faster, please. The city blurred past, neon signs reflecting off wet pavement, creating rivers of light and shadow. Ethan's mind raced faster than the car. A son. He had a son. 19 years old. Dying in a hospital bed while Ethan had been drinking scotch in his penthouse, surrounded by everything money could buy and nothing that actually mattered. His phone rang again. Stephanie. I'm 10 minutes away. Ethan's voice cracked. How is he? Still critical. Her voice trembled. Ethan, I need to prepare you for something. What is it? Just please hurry. We'll talk when you get here. The line went dead. Ethan stared at his reflection in the rain-streaked window. 48 years old, master of boardrooms, builder of empires, and he'd never felt more powerless in his life. St. Hilaire Medical Center loomed ahead, a massive structure of glass and steel that glowed against the storm-dark sky. Michael pulled up to the emergency entrance. Ethan was out of the car before it fully stopped, his expensive Italian shoes splashing through puddles as he ran toward the sliding doors. The hospital hit him with a wall of sensory overload. Fluorescent lights too bright. Antiseptic smell too sharp. The controlled chaos of medical staff moving with practiced urgency. A nurse at the reception desk looked up as he approached, drenched and desperate. "I'm looking for Noah Moore. Car accident victim. His mother called me. Are you family?" "I'm his father." The words felt foreign on his tongue. True, yet impossible. The nurse checked her computer. "4th floor, ICU. Elevators are to your left. Room 412. Ethan ran. His heart pounded against his ribs as the elevator climbed with agonizing slowness. 4th floor. The doors opened to reveal a hushed corridor, all muted colors and worried faces. And there, standing outside room 412, was Stephanie. She looked different. Older, yes, but not diminished. If anything, she seemed stronger than the young woman he'd left behind. Her honey-colored hair was shorter now, brushing her shoulders. Fine lines framed her eyes, eyes that had once looked at him with such love and now held only desperation and guardedness. "Ethan." She straightened, wrapping her arms around herself. "You came." "Of course I came." He stopped a few feet away, suddenly uncertain. "How is he?" "Critical but stable. They're prepping for the transfusion." She studied his face, searching for something. "Thank you for this. I know I had no right to ask." "Stephanie, don't." He took a step closer. "Tell me about him." "About Noah." Her expression softened despite everything. "He's brilliant. Top of his class. Wants to study engineering. He plays soccer, terrible at it but loves it anyway. He's kind, Ethan. So kind. He volunteers at the community center, helps younger kids with their homework." Each detail was a knife to Ethan's heart. 19 years of moments he'd missed. 19 years of a son growing up without him. "Can I see him?" Stephanie hesitated, then nodded. "But first, there's something you need to know. Something I should have told you on the phone, but I was so panicked, I couldn't think straight." "What is it?" Before she could answer, a teenage boy appeared in the doorway of room 412. He was tall, lean, with dark hair and piercing green eyes. Eyes identical to Ethan's own. The boy's face was a storm of emotions, hostility, and pain, and something else Ethan couldn't quite name. "So you finally decided to show up." The boy's voice dripped with sarcasm. 19 years late, but hey, better late than never, right? Ethan stared at him, confused. "Who?" "This is Caleb." Stephanie's voice was quiet. "Noah's twin brother." The world tilted. Twin. Ethan's vision swam. He reached out to steady himself against the wall. "Caleb, please." Stephanie moved toward her son. "Not now." "When, Mom?" Caleb's voice rose. "When is the right time to tell the great Ethan Cross that he didn't just abandon one kid, but two?" Ethan couldn't breathe. Two. He had two sons. 19 years of two lives he'd missed. Two children who'd grown up without him. Two boys who needed a father and got silence instead. "I think I need to sit down." Stephanie guided him to a nearby chair in the waiting area. Caleb watched with crossed arms, his expression a mixture of contempt and curiosity. "I didn't know about them until after the divorce." Stephanie's words came quickly now, as if she'd been holding them back for too long. "The doctors told me I was infertile years before I got pregnant. When I called you that day, I just found out I was pregnant, but it was too early to know about twins. By the time I had the ultrasound and discovered there were two, you'd already made it clear you wanted nothing to do with any of it. That's not true. Ethan looked up at her, anguish written across his face. I was scared and stupid and wrong about everything, but I never said I wanted nothing to do with it. I just asked for time. You wired me money, Ethan. Stephanie's voice hardened. Money to take care of things. What was I supposed to think? I meant to help with medical expenses, with whatever you needed. Not to pay you to make it go away. Well, it felt like the latter. She sat down beside him, maintaining careful distance. And then when I tried to call you back, to tell you about the twins, your mother answered your phone. Ethan's blood ran cold. What did she say? That you'd moved on. That you were grateful I'd handled things quietly. That if I tried to contact you again or make any claims on your money, she'd make sure I never saw a penny and that she'd tie me up in legal battles for years. She made it very clear that the Cross family wanted nothing to do with me or any children I might have. Rage flooded through Ethan, white-hot and consuming. My mother threatened you. She protected her son's future. That's how she put it. Stephanie's laugh was bitter. She said you had a destiny, and I wasn't part of it. Neither were Noah and Caleb. I never knew. Ethan's hands shook. Stephanie, I swear to you, I never knew she did that. I never knew you tried to reach me again. I thought you wanted nothing to do with me after I signed the divorce papers. And I thought you wanted nothing to do with us. She met his gaze finally, and he saw the years of hurt there, the loneliness, the struggle. So I raised them alone. My mother helped when she could before she passed 5 years ago. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I made sure they had everything they needed. Love, stability, education. Everything except a father. The words hit like physical blows. Caleb watched this exchange with fierce attention, his earlier hostility tempered slightly by something that might have been understanding. A doctor emerged from room 412, breaking the tension. Ms. Moore. We're ready for the transfusion. Is this the donor? Yes. Stephanie stood. Dr. Richardson, this is Ethan Cross. Noah's father. The doctor's eyebrows rose slightly, but he maintained professional composure. Mr. Cross, thank you for coming on such short notice. If you'll follow me, we'll get you prepped. Time is critical. Ethan stood, his legs unsteady. Can I see him first? Just for a moment. Dr. Richardson nodded. Brief. He's unconscious, but you can see him. The room was a cocoon of medical equipment, monitors beeping in steady rhythm, tubes and wires connecting to a still figure on the bed. Ethan approached slowly, and his breath caught in his throat. Noah looked like him. The resemblance was unmistakable. Same bone structure, same dark hair, same mouth. But he looked like Stephanie too, her delicate features softened his stronger ones. The boy was pale, a bandage wrapped around his head, a breathing tube assisting his shallow breaths. Hey, Noah. Ethan's voice broke. I'm your father. I know you can't hear me, but I'm here now. I'm going to help you. And then, if you'll let me, I'm going to spend the rest of my life making up for not being there before. He's a fighter. Caleb spoke from the doorway, his tone less hostile now. When we were 7, he broke his arm falling out of a tree. Didn't cry once. When we were 12, he got pneumonia so bad the doctors thought we'd lose him. He pulled through. He'll pull through this too. Ethan turned to look at his other son. Tell me about yourself, Caleb. Why? So you can pretend to care for 5 minutes before disappearing again? I'm not going anywhere. That's what people always say. Caleb's jaw tightened. But they leave anyway. At least you were honest about it from the start. Caleb. Stephanie's voice held a warning. It's okay. Ethan held up a hand. He has every right to be angry. You both do. I can't change the past, but I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. Mr. Cross. Dr. Richardson gestured toward the door. We need to start the transfusion. The process took over an hour. Ethan lay on a medical bed in an adjacent room, watching his blood flow through tubes toward his son. Toward Noah. His boy. One of his boys. Stephanie sat in a chair nearby, silent but present. The space between them was filled with 19 years of what-ifs and might-have-beens. What are they like? Ethan finally asked. Noah and Caleb. Tell me everything. Stephanie considered this for a long moment. Noah is the dreamer. He sees the best in people, sometimes to a fault. He wants to change the world, make it better. He's gentle but fierce when it comes to protecting people he loves. Terrible at math but exceptional at anything creative. And Caleb? Caleb is the protector. She smiled softly. He's been my rock since he was old enough to understand that we were different, that other kids had fathers and he didn't. He's brilliant with technology, taught himself to code when he was 10. He's cautious with trust, but once you earn it, he's loyal to the core. They sound extraordinary. They are. Her voice filled with pride. They're the best thing I ever did. The only thing that made all the struggle worth it. I'm so sorry, Stephanie. Ethan's voice cracked. For all of it. For not listening that day. For not being there. For believing my mother over my own heart. Your mother. Stephanie's expression hardened. Does she know you're here? No. And she won't be happy when she finds out. As if summoned by their words, Ethan's phone buzzed. Margaret Cross. He declined the call. You can answer it. I don't want to. They sat in silence for a while longer, the steady beep of monitors the only sound. Finally, Dr. Richardson returned. We're done here, Mr. Cross. You did great. The transfusion is underway. Noah's vitals are already showing improvement. I'm optimistic. Relief flooded through Ethan so powerfully he felt dizzy. Thank you. You should rest for a bit before getting up. Mild dizziness is normal. And Ms. Moore, you should get some rest too. It's been a long night. I'm not leaving him. Stephanie's tone left no room for argument. Then at least eat something. Doctor's orders. Richardson smiled kindly before leaving. Ethan sat up slowly, and the room spun slightly before settling. Stephanie moved to steady him, her hand on his arm, and the touch sent electricity through him. Even after all these years, even after everything, her touch still affected him. Sorry. She pulled back quickly. Instinct. Don't apologize. He caught her hand gently. Stephanie, I know I have no right to ask this, but can I be part of their lives? However you're comfortable with. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want a chance to know them. To be their father, if they'll let me. She studied him for a long moment, searching his face for sincerity or manipulation. Whatever she found must have satisfied her because she nodded slowly. We'll take it slow. The boy's comfort comes first. And Ethan, if you start this, you can't walk away again. They've managed without you. They're strong, resilient kids. But if you come into their lives now only to disappear when it gets difficult, I won't forgive that. Neither will they. I understand. And I promise you, I'm here for good. I've spent 19 years chasing success, building an empire, and I was miserable every single day. Because none of it mattered without the people I love. Before Stephanie could respond, Caleb appeared in the doorway. Noah's awake. They rushed to room 412. Noah's eyes were open, cloudy with medication but alert. When he saw Stephanie, a weak smile crossed his face. "Mom. I'm here, baby." She took his hand, tears streaming down her face. "You're okay. You're going to be okay." Noah's gaze drifted to Ethan, confusion evident. "Who?" "This is Ethan Cross." Stephanie's voice was gentle but firm. "Your father. He donated the blood you needed." Noah stared at Ethan for a long moment, processing this information through his medicated haze. "You saved me. I did what any father would do." Ethan stepped closer, his heart in his throat. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck." Noah's attempt at humor was weak but present. "Did I actually get hit by a truck?" "Car accident." Caleb moved to his brother's other side. "You ran a red light because you were texting. I told you to put the phone down." "Worth it." The meme was hilarious. Noah's smile faded as he looked back at Ethan. "Why now? Why after all this time?" "Because I didn't know about you." Ethan's voice was raw with emotion. "Your mother called me tonight, told me you needed help, and I came as fast as I could. I know that doesn't make up for 19 years. I know it doesn't excuse anything. But I'm here now, and if you'll give me a chance, I'd like to get to know you. Both of you." Noah glanced at Caleb, some silent twin communication passing between them. Caleb shrugged, his expression carefully neutral. "Okay." Noah said finally. "But you should know, we're a package deal. You want to know us, you take both. I wouldn't have it any other way." Over the next few days, as Noah recovered in the hospital, Ethan began the delicate process of getting to know his sons. He learned that Noah loved terrible action movies and could quote entire scenes from memory. That Caleb had a dry sense of humor that caught everyone off guard. That both boys were fiercely protective of their mother and each other. He also learned that Margaret Cross was not going to accept this new development quietly. She arrived on the third day of Noah's hospitalization, sweeping into the ICU like a winter storm, all designer clothes and icy disapproval. Ethan was in the cafeteria with Caleb when his phone lit up with texts from Stephanie. "Your mother is here. She's demanding to see you. I don't think she's happy." Ethan and Caleb rushed back to the fourth floor. They found Margaret standing outside Noah's room, her voice sharp and cutting as she spoke to Stephanie. "This is clearly a scheme to extort money from my son. You disappear for 19 years, and suddenly when he's a billionaire, you reappear with children who may or may not be his. They are his." Stephanie's voice was controlled but her hands shook. "And I didn't come looking for him. I called because my son was dying and needed help." "How convenient." Margaret's smile was cruel. "I'm sure a DNA test will prove otherwise. And when it does, I'll make sure you're prosecuted for fraud and for wasting medical resources." "That's enough." Ethan's voice cut through the corridor like a blade. Every head turned toward him. "Mother, you need to leave." Margaret's expression shifted to surprise, then calculation. "Ethan, darling, I'm trying to protect you from these fortune hunters. These fortune hunters are my sons." Ethan moved to stand beside Stephanie. "Noah and Caleb are my children, and I won't have you speaking to their mother this way. You can't possibly believe this ridiculous story." Margaret's voice rose. "She shows up after 2 decades with twins who conveniently need your money and your blood. She didn't show up. I went to her. And the only reason she didn't tell me about them sooner is because you threatened her. You answered my phone, told her I wanted nothing to do with her or any children she might have, and threatened legal action if she contacted me again." Margaret's face paled slightly. "I was protecting your future. You destroyed it." Ethan's voice shook with barely controlled rage. "I loved Stephanie. I would have loved our children. You took that from me. From all of us. I did what was necessary. You were building an empire. Children would have derailed everything. Building an empire without love is just constructing a prettier prison. Ethan turned to Caleb, who watched this confrontation with wide eyes. This is Caleb. And in that room is Noah. My sons. Your grandsons. Whether you acknowledge them or not doesn't change the truth. Margaret's expression hardened. If you pursue this foolishness, if you claim these children as yours, I'll remove you from the company. The board will support me. Then remove me. Ethan's response was immediate, absolute. Cross-Dominion Group can function without me, but I can't function without my family. Not anymore. I've wasted 19 years putting that company above everything that mattered. I won't waste another day. You're making a terrible mistake. The only mistake I made was listening to you in the first place. Ethan's voice was quiet now, final. Please leave. You're not welcome here. Margaret stared at him, searching for the son she'd manipulated for so long. Finding a stranger instead, she turned on her heel and strode toward the elevators, her exit as dramatic as her entrance. In the silence that followed, Caleb spoke quietly. You really meant that? About choosing us over your company? Every word. Ethan met his son's eyes. I can always make more money, build another company. But I only get one chance to be your father. I'm not wasting it. Something shifted in Caleb's expression. The walls he'd built didn't crumble, but they cracked. Just a little. That was intense. Noah's voice drifted from his room. He'd heard everything. Did you really just tell off your mother for us? Ethan entered the room, Stephanie and Caleb following. I should have done it 19 years ago. You know this means you'll probably lose your company, right? Noah's tone was serious despite his medication. We're not worth that. You're worth everything. Ethan pulled up a chair beside the bed. And I won't lose the company. I built it. I know every aspect of how it runs. The board needs me more than my mother realizes. But even if I did lose it, I'd still have made the right choice. Why? Caleb asked from the doorway. Why do you care so much all of a sudden? You didn't care for 19 years. Because I was living half a life. Ethan's honesty was brutal. I convinced myself that success equaled happiness, that building an empire was enough. But every achievement felt empty. Every milestone felt hollow. I buried myself in work to avoid admitting that I'd made the biggest mistake of my life when I walked away from your mother. He looked at Stephanie, then back at his sons. I can't give you back 19 years. I can't undo the birthdays I missed, the first days of school, the scraped knees and bad dreams and soccer games. But I can give you every day from now forward. If you'll let me. The room fell silent. Noah and Caleb exchanged another of their twin looks, communicating in ways only they understood. Finally, Noah spoke. Okay. But we have conditions. Name them. You can't just throw money at us and think that makes you a dad. We don't need a wallet. We need a father. Agreed. You have to show up. Not just for the big stuff. For the boring stuff too. Homework help, driving us places, sitting through terrible school concerts. I'll be there. And you have to respect Mom. Caleb's voice was fierce. She raised us alone. She worked herself to exhaustion to give us everything we needed. You don't get to swoop in and act like you did any of that. Your mother is the strongest person I've ever known. Ethan looked at Stephanie, his respect and regret evident. I have nothing but respect for her. One more thing. Noah's expression turned serious. You hurt us, you leave again, and we're done. No second chances. We're willing to try this, but you only get one shot. That's more than fair. And I promise you, I'm not leaving. Ever. The weeks that followed tested that promise in ways Ethan never anticipated. Noah's recovery was slow, requiring physical therapy and follow-up appointments. Ethan rearranged his entire schedule around these, sitting in waiting rooms, driving to appointments, learning the rhythms of his sons' lives. He also began the process of restructuring his relationship with Cross-Dominion Group. His mother made good on her threat, calling an emergency board meeting to discuss his future with the company. Ethan attended via video call from Noah's hospital room. "Ethan," Margaret's voice was cold through the speakers, "the board has concerns about your recent behavior and judgment." "My judgment is fine, Mother. My priorities have simply shifted. To these supposed children who conveniently appeared at the perfect time to access your wealth. If you want a DNA test, order one." Ethan's calm was absolute. "I already had one done. The results confirm what I already knew. Noah and Caleb are my sons. And I'm not apologizing for choosing to be their father." The board members exchanged glances. Patricia Wu, the CFO, spoke up. "Ethan, no one is asking you to abandon your children. But your mother raises a valid point about the timing and the sudden upheaval in your life. The timing is 19 years too late, Patricia. And the upheaval is necessary. I'm not stepping down as CEO, but I am delegating more responsibilities. I've already spoken with Derek Chen about taking over day-to-day operations as COO. Without consulting the board." Margaret's voice rose. "I'm consulting you now." Ethan leaned forward. "Here's what's happening. Derek becomes COO and handles daily operations. I remain CEO and focus on strategy, innovation, and major decisions. I'll work remotely most days and come into the office for crucial meetings. This company functioned fine before I micromanaged every detail. It will function fine with this structure. And if we refuse?" Margaret challenged. "Then I resign, start a competing company, and take half your top talent with me." Ethan's tone made clear this wasn't a bluff. "I built Cross-Dominion from nothing once. I can do it again. The question is whether you want to lose me entirely or adapt to a new structure that benefits everyone." The board voted 7-2 in Ethan's favor. Margaret's influence wasn't as absolute as she'd believed. After the meeting, Ethan found his sons in the hospital's recreation room. Noah was in a wheelchair, still weak but improving daily. Caleb sat nearby, working on his laptop. "How'd it go?" Caleb asked without looking up. "I'm still CEO. Just with different priorities." "You really would have walked away?" Noah's question was genuine, curious. Without hesitation. Ethan sat down across from them. "I meant what I said. The company is important, but you're essential. There's a difference. That's kind of intense." Noah grinned. "In a good way, though." Over the next month, as Noah's health improved, the family fell into new patterns. Ethan rented an apartment 3 blocks from Stephanie's house, close enough to be present but respectful of boundaries. He showed up for family dinners, helped with homework, attended Noah's physical therapy sessions. The bonding happened in small moments. Late-night conversations with Caleb about coding and technology. Teaching Noah how to play chess during his recovery. Grocery shopping with Stephanie, falling into easy banter that reminded them both of who they'd been before everything fell apart. But the real breakthrough came on a Tuesday afternoon when Ethan picked Caleb up from school. His son was unusually quiet, jaw tight with suppressed anger. "What happened?" Ethan asked as they drove away from the school. "Nothing. Caleb. I said it's nothing. Just drop it." Ethan pulled the car over into a parking lot and turned to face his son. "Talk to me." Caleb's composure cracked. "Some guy, Ryan Hutchins, he was running his mouth. Saying you only came back because mom must have blackmailed you. Said you probably weren't even our real dad and that mom was just after your money. And I punched him. Ethan absorbed this information. Is he okay? He'll live. Caleb's voice was bitter. But I'm suspended for 3 days. Mom's going to kill me. What did the principal say? That I threw the first punch, so it doesn't matter what he said. Zero tolerance policy. Caleb slumped in his seat. I know I shouldn't have hit him. I know violence isn't the answer. But he was talking about you and Mom like you're some kind of scam artists, and I just couldn't let it go. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, if someone was saying those things about your mother, I probably would have punched them too. Caleb looked up, surprised. But here's the thing. Ethan continued. Fighting proves nothing. Ryan's words only have power if we let them. The truth is the truth, no matter what anyone says. I am your father. I did come back the second I learned about you. Your mother never asked me for anything, not even when she should have. So you're not mad I got suspended? Oh, I think your mom and I need to address the violence issue. That's not okay, and there will be consequences. But am I mad that you defended your family? No. I'm actually kind of proud, even though I shouldn't be. Caleb smiled, small and uncertain. Really? Really? But next time, maybe just walk away and let their ignorance speak for itself. People who matter know the truth. When they arrived home, Stephanie was waiting on the porch, arms crossed, expression thunderous. The school called. I can explain. Caleb started. Inside. Now. She pointed at the door. As Caleb headed in, Stephanie turned to Ethan. Did you know about this? He just told me. And before you ask, I already talked to him about the violence not being the solution. Good. Because I've worked too hard raising them right to have them solving problems with their fists. They went inside together, a united front. The conversation with Caleb was difficult but necessary. Consequences were established, including a written apology to Ryan and extra chores. But Ethan also made sure Caleb knew that while violence wasn't acceptable, defending family was understandable. Later that evening, after Caleb had retreated to his room, Ethan found Stephanie on the back porch, staring at the stars. You handled that well, she said without looking at him. The talk with Caleb. Firm but fair. I'm learning. Ethan sat beside her. Mostly from watching you. You've done an incredible job raising them, Stephanie. I did what I had to do. No. He turned to face her. You did extraordinary things under impossible circumstances. Most people would have crumbled under that pressure. You thrived. You raised 2 remarkable young men who are kind, intelligent, and loyal. That's not just survival. That's triumph. Stephanie's eyes glistened. There were days I didn't think I'd make it. Days when the bills piled up and the boys were sick and I was so tired I could barely stand. Days when I resented you so much I could taste it. I'm so sorry. But there were also days of pure joy. She smiled through her tears. First words, first steps, first days of school. Every achievement, every milestone. I got to experience all of that. And as much as I wish you'd been there, I also know that I'm stronger because I wasn't. You shouldn't have had to be that strong alone. Maybe not. But I was. And now you're here, and I don't know what to do with that. Ethan took her hand carefully, giving her every opportunity to pull away. What do you want to do with it? I don't know. Stephanie's voice was barely a whisper. Part of me wants to hold on to the anger, keep you at arm's length, protect myself from getting hurt again. But another part remembers who we were, what we had. And wonders if maybe, possibly, we could find our way back to something like that. I'd like to try. If you're willing. No pressure, no expectations. Just two people who once loved each other, seeing if that love might still exist underneath all the hurt. Before Stephanie could respond, Noah appeared in the doorway, still moving slowly but much stronger than he'd been weeks before. "Am I interrupting?" "No, sweetheart." Stephanie quickly wiped her eyes. "What do you need?" "Actually, I wanted to talk to both of you." Noah came out onto the porch, lowering himself carefully into a chair. "About Dad." Ethan's heart skipped at the word. "Dad." Not Ethan. "Dad." "What about him?" Stephanie asked gently. "I know this is weird for everyone." Noah's maturity belied his 19 years. "You guys have history and hurt, and Caleb and I are trying to figure out where we fit in all of this. But I just wanted to say that I think we should give this a real shot. Like, actually commit to being a family." "Noah, we are trying," Stephanie assured him. "I know. But I also know you're holding back, Mom. Both of you are. You're being careful with each other, walking on eggshells. And I get why. But if we're going to do this, we should really do it. Family therapy, regular dinners, actual conversations about the hard stuff." "When did you get so wise?" Ethan asked, his voice thick with emotion. "I had a near-death experience. It puts things in perspective." Noah grinned. "Life's too short to waste time being careful. You guys loved each other once. Maybe you could love each other again. And even if you can't, Caleb and I deserve to have both our parents in our lives, working together, not tiptoeing around each other." "He's right." Caleb appeared behind his brother. "As usual. We're either a family or we're not. Pick one." Ethan looked at Stephanie, saw his own hope and fear reflected in her eyes. "Family therapy? I think I can arrange that. Regular dinners? Already happening. Actual conversations about the hard stuff?" Stephanie took a deep breath. "Yes. All of it. We owe it to ourselves and to them to really try." The boys exchanged triumphant looks and headed back inside, leaving Ethan and Stephanie alone once more. "They're manipulating us," Stephanie said with a soft laugh. "Absolutely." Ethan agreed. "And I don't even care." "Me neither." "So," Ethan ventured carefully, "does this mean we're doing this? Really doing this?" "I think it does." Stephanie squeezed his hand. "But slow, Ethan. We take this slow. As slow as you need." The months that followed were a study in patience and persistence. Family therapy sessions revealed wounds deeper than either Ethan or Stephanie had acknowledged. Margaret's manipulation had left scars on everyone. Ethan's abandonment, however unintentional, had shaped the boys' entire worldview. Stephanie's fierce independence, born of necessity, made trusting difficult. But they worked through it. Week by week, session by session, conversation by conversation. Ethan showed up. For soccer games and school concerts, for emergency room visits when Caleb broke his wrist skateboarding, for long nights helping Noah catch up on missed schoolwork. He proved, day after day, that he meant his promises. Stephanie slowly let down her guard. She allowed Ethan back into her life in incremental ways. Coffee dates that became dinner dates. Hand-holding that became embraces. Careful kisses that reminded them both of what they'd once had and might have again. The boys thrived. Noah's recovery was complete, leaving him with only a small scar and a renewed appreciation for life. Caleb's edges softened as he learned to trust Ethan. They became a unit, messy and complicated but undeniably real. 6 months after that midnight phone call, Ethan stood in Willowridge Park, the place where he and Stephanie had their first date 20 years earlier. The same bench. The same view of the lake. But everything else was different. Stephanie approached across the grass, a question in her eyes when she saw the picnic he'd set up. "What's all this?" A celebration. Ethan helped her sit. 6 months since I got the scariest phone call of my life. 6 months since I learned I had 2 incredible sons. 6 months since I started finding my way back to you. It's been a good 6 months. Stephanie agreed, leaning against his shoulder. I have something to ask you. Ethan's heart pounded. I know we said we'd take things slow. I know there's still healing to do. But Stephanie, I've wasted enough time. I've spent enough years pretending I didn't need you, didn't love you, didn't dream about you every single night. He pulled out a small velvet box, and Stephanie's breath caught. This isn't the same ring I gave you 20 years ago. That ring represented who we were, young and naive and unprepared for the world. This ring represents who we are now. Stronger, wiser, scarred but healing. He opened the box to reveal a simple but elegant band, a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. Stephanie Moore, will you marry me again? Not because we have to, not because of the boys, but because I love you. I've always loved you. I never stopped. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving that to you every single day. Tears streamed down Stephanie's face. This is crazy. I know. We've only been back together for 6 months. I know. Your mother will lose her mind. I really don't care. Stephanie laughed through her tears. The boys set this up, didn't they? They may have strongly suggested I stop wasting time. She looked at the ring, then at Ethan, then back at the ring. You hurt me, Ethan. More than anyone ever has. I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it if you let me. But you also came back. You didn't have to, but you did. You chose us over everything else. You stood up to your mother. You showed up, day after day, proving that you meant what you said. She took the ring from the box, studying it in the fading sunlight. Some love stories end, Stephanie whispered. Some are rewritten. Ours is both. Is that a yes? She slipped the ring onto her finger. It's a yes. Ethan pulled her into a kiss that felt like coming home, like redemption, like the future they should have had all along. When they finally pulled apart, they found Noah and Caleb standing a short distance away, trying and failing to look casual. You two are terrible at hiding. Stephanie called out, laughing. Did she say yes? Noah shouted. She said yes. The boys hooped and ran over, enveloping their parents in a group hug that felt like the family they were always meant to be. 1 year later, Ethan and Stephanie stood in the backyard of their new home, a sprawling craftsman with enough space for everyone. The wedding had been small and private, just family and close friends. No press, no spectacle, just love. Now they watched as Noah and Caleb set up for their high school graduation party, their caps and gowns hanging on the porch railing. Both boys had been accepted to excellent universities. Noah to pursue engineering, Caleb to study computer science. Can you believe we're about to have empty nest syndrome? Stephanie leaned against Ethan's chest. We'll figure it out. Just like we've figured out everything else. Margaret had not attended the wedding or graduation. She'd made her choice, and Ethan had made peace with it. Some relationships couldn't be salvaged. But the family he'd built with Stephanie and the boys was worth any sacrifice. Hey Dad. Noah called from across the yard. Can you help me with this banner? Dad. The word still sent warmth through Ethan's chest every time he heard it. On my way. As he walked toward his son, Ethan reflected on the journey that brought him here. From that rain-soaked night when Stephanie's call shattered his carefully constructed world, to this sun-drenched afternoon surrounded by the people he loved most. He'd been a billionaire CEO, master of boardrooms, builder of empires. But none of that compared to being a father, a husband, a man who'd found his way home. Later that evening, after the party wound down and the boys retreated to their rooms to pack for college, Ethan and Stephanie sat on their porch swing, watching the stars emerge. "Any regrets?" Stephanie asked quietly. "Only that I wasted 19 years. She squeezed his hand. "But we got here eventually. That's what matters. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I'd listened that day? If I'd come home when you called, if I'd been there from the beginning?" "Sometimes. But then I realized that the man you are now, the father you've become, was shaped by those mistakes. You appreciate us because you know what it's like to live without us. I never want to live without you again. You won't have to." Inside, they could hear the boys arguing good-naturedly about something, their voices full of life and joy and promise. This was family. Not perfect, not without scars, but real and true and worth fighting for. Ethan had learned the hard way that success without love was just a prettier form of emptiness. That empires built on ambition alone crumbled into dust. But family, love, connection, those lasted. Those mattered. Those were the only empire worth building. And as he sat there with Stephanie's head on his shoulder, his son's laughter drifting through the windows, Ethan Cross finally understood what true wealth felt like. If this story touched your heart, I want you to do something for me. First, smash that like button because it genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear messages like this. Second, drop a comment and tell me, would you forgive someone who walked away, or is some betrayal too deep? I read every single comment and I love hearing your perspectives. Third, and this is the big one, subscribe to Mr. Steven's Stories and hit that notification bell. We share powerful stories about love, redemption, second chances, and the courage it takes to choose what really matters. Stories that will make you think, feel, and maybe even see your own life differently. Because here's the truth that Ethan learned the hard way. It's never too late to make things right. It's never too late to choose love over pride, family over ambition, presence over success. Some families are born in love. Others are rebuilt through truth, sacrifice, and the courage to stay. Either way, they're worth fighting for. Thank you for being part of the Mr. Steven's Stories family. Until next time, remember that the best time to make things right was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Don't wait for a midnight phone call to realize what matters most.